There are questions tonight in Uganda about the fate of opposition leader Bobi Wine, just one day after Uganda's presidential election. Wine's political party posting on X that he was forcibly removed from his home and taken away in an army helicopter. Partial results in Uganda show that Wine actually finished a distant second in Thursday's presidential race. The fate of the opposition now unclear. Some 75% of the country's ballots have now been counted, and that shows the current president, Museveni, is expected to remain in power. The 81-year-old leader has actually been in power since 1986. Violence broke out after the vote. There are differing counts, though, about what happened and why. Police have said at least 7 people were killed. Oge Onubogu is director and senior fellow of the Africa program at the Center for Strategic and International Studies. It's good to have you with us tonight. First of all, this news that's coming in, so Bobi Wine's party saying that he was forcibly removed from his home, taken away in an army helicopter. If the army is behind this, what does that tell us? What kind of threat would Bobi Wine have posed?
Erica, thank you so much for having me. As we watch these elections unfold in Uganda, I think going into the elections, it was already clear. It wasn't a clear playing field, a level playing field to begin with. So the outcome of the elections were for the most part, predictable. So it shouldn't really be a surprise for those who watch this process very closely. I think for me, it wasn't necessarily about the election day itself or if President Museveni or Bobi Wine would prevail, but really looking at Uganda's institutions and if the institutions as they sit today will actually be able to handle this pre-election season that we see ourselves going into. As you rightfully pointed out, Museveni is 81 years old. Uganda is among one of the youngest countries. It has one of the youngest populations in the world with an average age of about 17 years old. So this process, as we go into this post-election period, this is really a stress test as we look at if the institutions, as they currently stand in Uganda today, will be able to handle the impacts of the outcomes of these elections.
So give us an idea, when you talk about those institutions, what specifically are you going to be watching in this period as that stress test?
I think, as you rightfully pointed out from the beginning, we've seen the role of security actors. The fact that you have had one individual in power since 1986 has actually helped hollow out some of the institutions where power has become individualized. Security actors now play a stronger role in the process. And you actually have some other actors too as well that have sort of held on to the center that are trying to position themselves in this period of transition. So when you have all these actors at play, I think, and when it comes to who has to control power, these are the actors that, in my opinion, would play a significant role in trying to shift the conversations during this period of transition.
It's going to be so interesting to watch, because if we even look at what was happening during the election, right? It took place under an internet blackout. Authorities said that was necessary to, in their view, prevent misinformation and violence. We know there was some violence. Given what you've set up for us, given the fact that we are looking, at the same leader who's been in place, who is, as you noted, is 81, has been in power since 1986, it raises questions about whether Uganda can have free and fair elections.
Mm-hmm. And I think, again, as I said earlier on, it was already clear going into these elections, and we've seen this in the elections before, that the outcome was already predictable. So for me, it wasn't necessarily about the process. It wasn't about the election day itself, particularly with these elections. For me, it was the point you pointed out. This president is 81 years old. Yeah. And as we look at him, his tenure in this next as he is set to win the elections or to be declared president, will he be able to see out this term, what the transition process would look like, and if the institutions as they currently exist in Uganda today will have the capacity to help this country evolve peacefully? Because I think we should really be paying attention to this period of transition right now. And considering the fact that this, as I pointed out, is a very young population, for so many of Museveni's supporters who look at him with nostalgia and the idea that he provides a sense of stability, given the fact that the median age in this country is an average of about 17, and you're looking at about 70% of the population below the age of 30. For them, they do not look at Museveni from the perspective of stability. They look at him as in this is the only leader that they've always known. And in the period of knowing him, they have seen increased frustrations and a lot of their needs not being met in terms of employment, in terms of education, and just social basic needs. So this is the view going into this period post-election. And given these frustrations that we see in Uganda, considering the levels of frustration that we also saw in neighboring Tanzania last year and some of the events happening in East Africa, will the institutions in Uganda be able to sustain this period of sustained youth frustrations as we move past these elections?
Yeah, such important points and such critical insight. Okay, thank you. Really appreciate it.